Day 8 and still no answers as to why the Riviera Beach City Council fired its city manager. So now a neighbor in that community has come forward with a lawsuit demanding answers as to why Jonathan Evans was fired. Our Wanda Moore has been doing a lot of digging to try to get answers. New at 11, she was made aware of another meeting regarding Evans' firing.
A source told me that there was going to be a meeting here tonight at the Hearst Chapel behind me at 6 o'clock. And sure enough, we showed up, and right around 6 o'clock, we saw about a dozen cars pull up. Now, we saw numerous people get inside that church, including Councilman Terrence Davis and Police Chief Clarence Williams. Now, after the meeting, I walked up to the police chief and I asked him what that meeting was about. Listen to what he had to say.
I don't know anything about the contents of a meeting. So, and why would you walk up to the police chief and ask him a question that I just arrived? So,
oh, you just arrived?
Yeah,
because we saw you get in earlier, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, I've come and gone, and you couldn't have seen me.
Okay, and you don't know what this meeting was about?
No, I have no idea. You have to ask somebody that was in there.
So you just happened to be here?
Yeah.
And you have no idea what anyone is talking about?
I have no idea.
My source also telling me that this was a meeting of those who opposed Jonathan Evans, and that's why the mayor specifically was not invited here tonight. I also tried to talk to the minister of the Hearst Chapel right after the meeting, but he got in his car and drove off before I could do that. Reporting in Riviera Beach, Wanda Moore, Wptv News Channel 5.
A bombshell decision we broke today about the newly hired interim city manager for Riviera Beach.
James Pogue withdrew from the position after Wanda Moore uncovered information about Pogue's background that city council members had not discovered themselves.
These developments come more than a month after we began our investigation into the firing of the original city manager.
Wanda Moore live outside City Hall, where she tried to talk to council members today about this breaking development. Wanda.
In an email, Pogue said that he will not accept the position after a report that we aired here last night in which we said that Pogue was arrested in 2005 for domestic battery. During Wednesday night's meeting, Councilmember Lynn Hubbard motioned suddenly to hire James Pogue as interim city manager.
Let's put this person in place.
Most council members had never met Pogue.
I figured we would have a number of people to select from and a process in which we would discuss, interview the person, find out what they look like, and then we would make a decision.
But that's not what happened. Instead, the 3 city council members who fired Jonathan Evans a month ago without any reason hired Pogue on the spot. No interview, no background check. On Thursday, we reported that Pogue had been arrested in 2005 for domestic battery. According to the arrest report, Pogue's then-wife said he placed one hand on her throat, and when she tried to defend herself, Pogue pushed her to the ground. Also, according to the report, as Pogue was put in the back of the police car, he told officers, quote, "I want all the officers' names and badge numbers who were at my house. Do you know who I am? I guarantee that all of you will pay for this." The arresting officer said in his report that he felt Pogue was using his occupation within Broward County to take revenge on the officers. The charges were later dropped. After our report aired, Pogue emailed city staff informing them he will not accept the position. In the email, he said, quote, "During the media's investigation, aspects of my past personal life were also reported. I deeply regret my past actions and have worked tirelessly to correct them. My personal life has no bearing on my competency or career." We also learned that Pogue was fired from his position in Wellington as the Director of Community Services last year for violating employee standards of conduct and the village's purchasing policies. Today, I tried to ask Councilwoman Lynn Hubbard, who had motioned to hire Pogue, about her reaction to his decision to withdraw from the position.
I don't want to hear a thing you have to say. You are a racist pig.
Excuse me, what did you just call me?
A racist pig.
As she was leaving, she made an obscene gesture. And now on Tuesday, Council is holding a special meeting discussing the position of city manager again. I also spoke with the chairwoman and the mayor today, and they both tell me that this is a sign that they should bring Mr. Evans back. On another note, I hear that the community has now collected well over 1,000 signatures in their effort to recall those 3 city council members who voted to fire Mr. Evans. a month ago. We're live in Riviera Beach, one more Wptv News Channel 5.
Is there a man with the power to instill fear throughout a city government?
A man with the influence to force the firing of a city manager and get himself nominated to replace him.
For weeks, police officers in Riviera Beach have told News Channel 5 off the record their answer to those questions is absolutely yes.
Tonight, 3 officers go on the record. Here with her continuing WPTV investigation are Wanda Moore. Wanda?
Michael and Kelly, the 3 officers made it clear Police Chief Clarence Williams does have that kind of power and control.
I fear physical retaliation from the chief and his little minions. I mean, there's no telling what they'll do in order to retaliate.
Physical
Retaliation, yes.
Strong feelings echoed by 3 Riviera Beach police officers. WPTV News Channel 5 agreed to hide their identities, even alter their voices so that they would share their stories.
People are demoralized. The officers are scared.
Scared of this man, they claim, Riviera Beach Police Chief Clarence Williams.
He's by far the most powerful man in that city. Who holds him accountable? Absolutely nobody.
But these officers tell me that changed when council hired Jonathan Evans to be its city manager in March.
Jonathan Evans was on the way to holding him accountable for what he's been doing for several years. And once he saw that he was going to be held accountable, they got rid of him for no reason.
The officers believe the chief orchestrated Evans' firing after only 6 months on the job.
His fingerprints are all up on this entire corruption and this whole coup that's going on.
They point to a secret meeting at Hearst Chapel 8 days after council fired Evans. A secret meeting a WPTV investigation exposed. I confronted Chief Williams as he walked out.
I just arrived. So,
Oh, you just arrived? Because we saw you get in earlier, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, I've come and gone, and you couldn't have seen me.
The chief later confessed to being at that meeting.
Anything that you saw me doing since that September 29th date was simply to keep people safe.
Multiple sources confirm the agenda was to talk about how to make sure Evans never got his job back, despite the public outcry over his firing. That lie by the chief, the officers told me, gave them the courage to take the no confidence vote, something they say they wanted to do for years.
The vote of no confidence gave a lot of people hope because they said, okay, we got the courage to come together. We became strong. We became united.
That lie convinced a huge majority of officers the chief wanted the city manager's job for himself.
My feeling was the same as all the other officers that I've talked to, that he's a liar. When put under pressure, he won't do the right thing.
And that lie, the officers claim, made it clear to them that Williams would always have them under his thumb.
It was very important because the fact that the officers saw that he wasn't just going to retire and go away. His plan, ultimate plan, was to become the city manager. It can't happen. Everybody's afraid of it. Everybody.
They say when the chief held his news conference, his words, but more so the chants of his inner circle, fueled that fear.
Ride or die. Ride or die. Go ahead. Ride or die.
I absolutely took that threat home, to say the least. I've spoken to my family and have warned them, and it was threatening. There's no other way to look at it.
Now the officers say they need the people they protect and serve to help them.
Recognize that this chief of police is a huge part of this. I call it a conspiracy because that's what it is. And we need their support. But we'll always be there for them, always.
And specifically, the officers are asking the public to keep up the pressure to not let the chief become the next city manager. And when it comes to the chief's position, not to let anyone from within his inner circle, especially Alex Freeman, replace him. Now, I want to make it clear that Chief Williams has not been accused of committing any crimes. And I also want to make it clear that I did reach out numerous times to the chief and his lawyers to see if they wanted to be part of this story. They declined. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, one more Wptv News Channel 5.